Welcome back, everyone. Mike McConville here. Happy New Year. 2023 has just started. We've got two Martin neck resets on the go here. What I've got here is I've added the shims to the male dovetail with a thin down version of hide glue. And this is how I do it. I'm sure other people have other ways to do it. I wrap the whole dovetail in a very thin sort of saran wrap, and then I press it into place. This is how I glue those shims on. So they are slightly thicker than we need. Once that glue sets, we can work those shims down for a good mechanical press fit. Now on the other tech deck, I have a D28 that I'm doing a neck reset on as well, and this one, the neck was reset before, and there are complications on this one that I had to deal with, and I'll bring into the loop as we make those corrections. I have a piece of tape here, and I've masked off the tip, exposing about 1 millimeter, a little bit better than 1 millimeter on the tip. And I'm going to start with the die grinder. Now, not everybody does this, and you don't want to even attempt it unless you're very comfortable with this tool. I just adjusted the speed. It's pretty slow. Okay, I'm going to change that disc. There we go. There's a fresh 100 grit disc, and I am taking mostly glue off at this point. It's pretty touchy, the speed on this thing. That's better. With John's D28, there was kind of extra special challenge. Let me bring you into the heel, and I'll explain. So the last time that the neck was removed for a reset, there was way too much material taken off the inside cheek. Now, ironically, even after doing that, they never managed to actually get the neck reset properly, and they ended up shaving down the bridge. So let's go have a look at the bridge, because there is another complication. So because of the extra material that was removed from the inside cheek of the heel, it meant that the whole neck shifted this way, and the theoretical line for the intonation is here. The actual compensated line is here. So that was another complication that needed to be dealt with, because literally where that saddle is, this guitar would never play in tune. And there is a further complication. Let me grab a straight edge. Okay, I am happy now with the neck set. I've brought it back. You can see out of desperation, on that last neck reset, he ended up shaving the bridge down way too thin. So now with this new neck angle, now there's a little bit of room for adjustment. It will end up being slightly lower than this, but I am going to be fabricating a replacement bridge that will be sort of standard Martin thickness. So let's have a look at the other angles. Now, I have mentioned in previous videos there are 6 different planes that need to be checked when you reset a neck. The first couple of planes that we need to check is to make sure the neck is right this way, tilted back, or this way. As I mentioned a second ago, that bridge was shaved down to about half the thickness it should be, which is a big no-no, especially on a real deal Martin guitar. Okay, so we have set this neck angle back, and I just showed you that, and it's fine. So we're going to end up with a standard thickness Martin style replacement bridge. The other thing that needs to be checked is the neck needs to be right this way and this way. And if you look at the center line on that straight edge, I'm very happy with that, so we got that right. So the last 2 planes that you have to consider when you're doing a neck reset is this plane and this plane. Now on Martin guitars that's very rarely a problem, and it's certainly not in this case. This one's perfect in that respect. Okay, we have given those shims enough time to set, and we'll just take that off. So we'll let that dry right out, bone dry, overnight, and then we'll gently work that down until we get a perfect mechanical fit. Now, as per usual, after tilting the neck back, that creates the fall off on the fingerboard extension, so you inevitably get this high spot here. So I start with my shorter block, and we're just going to kind of blend that high spot in so that when we're done and you eye down the neck, you don't see kind of a major ski jump at that neck to body junction. This is the smallest block that I send out in the fretting kits, and that's really concentrating right on that point. Just kind of stopping and checking as I go. Oh, that's made quite a difference. So continue a little bit with that shortest block right at the 14th fret and take that down. So for you guys that have your sanding blocks that I've sent out in those fretting kits, this is that crepe stuff that you buy in a block for cleaning up the sandpaper on your belt sanders, edge sanders, etc. But it also works on these sanding blocks. This 80 grit is pretty well jam full with rosewood and ebony dust because, you know, just from the last few fingerboards I've done. So I just take the edge of that and just kind of manually basically renew it. Well, I've already sanded multiple fingerboards with this one piece of 80 grit. Of course, I do my leveling with 80 grit and finish up with 180 actually, but a couple of moments ago that was jam solid with rosewood and ebony dust. Now we're ready to use it again. It's completely refreshed. So now with this longer block, I'm kind of making my way up towards the nut and following through past that neck to body junction to get a nice even trajectory along the string path. And you got to stop and check as you go. Now, This, of course, does not have an adjustable truss rod. It's the old style Martin with the square truss rod, non-adjustable. So that's the famous 10-inch straight edge that I sent out in the kits. And that's looking pretty good. I'm going to switch over to the lighter grade now. There is a slight little bit of fall off the last couple of frets, but even that will be reduced as we switch over to the next block. This is my 120 grit, and again, I'm just refreshing it with this crepe block. I don't know if the camera's picking that up or not, but there's the part I just cleaned. There's the other end I haven't touched yet. So I'll clean that up. So there we go. That block is now completely refreshed. Okay, now we're going full length, light touch here. There's a slip of leather on this jointed block that naturally follows whatever radius I'm working on, from 7 1/4 to 22. And we are just about there, just about ready to start putting the new frets in. So this is the setup that I use for tapping those upper frets in before the neck is glued onto the guitar. So I've got the table from my arbor press is straddled across the two rails of the GPS Tech deck. Then I've got this tapered solid maple block, piece of two-sided tape. I have a female dovetail cut into the end of that block to receive the male dovetail. And then that piece of double-sided tape just kind of holds that down while we're doing our work. The pivoting neck assembly allows for full support. Now, I'm not worried about these frets. I'll put those in after the neck is glued on the guitar. It's just the fingerboard extension. That's what I'm worried about. This way, the actual body of this vintage Martin, it never gets a hit. Okay, so we're ready to go, ready to start putting frets in. Okay, so we can take this apart. We are ready to glue the neck on. They're all in-seated, edge-dressed, polished. I will do the filling and final level and dress once the neck is on the guitar. And then that'll be it for the frets. We still have to make a bridge for this one yet. Now, I do realize a lot of my subscribers are hockey fans, and you've seen me use hockey pucks for numerous things over the last 700 videos, and I'm sure that most of you have been watching the World Juniors, so I thought I should fess up before you find out for yourself. This latest hockey puck trick, I actually stole it from Connor Bedard. So I have this sliced hockey puck that I put over the fret, and that gives us the pressure we need to keep both those tips down tight as we're gluing the fingerboard extension on the neck reset. So we are ready to finish the fret job. We still have to make a bridge yet, but that's all right. We'll get to that too. The other thing I forgot to mention this video, I have mentioned it in other videos, when I get on the home stretch and I think I'm close as far as the neck reset, final verification, I use a couple of pilot frets. Oftentimes I'll put like the 11th fret in. In this case, I have those fingerboard extension frets in, so I'm using those. So I have a fret here at the 4th fret, and between that and this upper fret, that gives me a really good idea of the trajectory of the neck. If I measure from the soundboard surface to that straight edge, it's 3/8 of an inch, which is great because that allows another 1/8 of an inch to sort of raise the strings up, so we get a nice kind of 1/2 inch distance. And this is approximate, but about a 1/2 an inch to 5/8 of an inch is what you want to see, the distance from the surface of the soundboard to the underside of the 6th string. And that is what we're going to end up with, so I'm very happy with that.